Hey everybody, my name is Josh Rhodes. This is a JDR RC blog. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be doing some more of these RC blogs here in the very near future. Today though, I kind of wanted to peek in here, pop on, and basically talk about my entire racing season that I had this past summer. Also going to be going over some of the stuff that I do to my Losi LMT trucks so they can withstand some of the abuse that I put them through. So without further ado, let's get right into it, and let's talk about my Losi LMT Grave Digger truck. This is my current Pro Mod Losi LMT Grave Digger machine. Basically, not too much has been done with this thing. It's almost all stock with the exception of a couple of things that I've done to strengthen it up, as well as try and get a little bit more performance out of it. And in this video, we're going to go over exactly what I've done. This truck takes a lot of abuse out there on the racetrack, and one of the first things I did was upgrade the servo on the truck. This is a Vox digital servo. It's an SC1267. I know it's upside down, but with the way that this servo is positioned and the way that this steering setup is, you've got to have the spline of the servo down here. So the decal, it's upside down, but trust me, it is a Vox 1267, not a 1297. Glued on top of it as a staple to my Gravedigger trucks is, of course, a skull. This is actually an old CPE kit that you could get, which was an upper link mount for a clodbuster. See, it's got a hole through the side of the skull where if you wanted to, let me get the camera to focus, if you wanted to, you could actually mount your upper link through the skull, which was pretty cool, but it's something that I never really did. I actually bought these just as kind of a showpiece you could stick on something on your truck. I like it. I think it makes the truck pop a little bit more. But anyway, as far as performance goes, servos, first thing I upgraded. This 1267 is a very stout servo. As you can see, I run a servo horn on it. It can withstand it. It has withstood a lot of big air this season. The other thing that I do performance-wise, these are Losi LMT V2 axles, not the first generation. These are the second generation axle. And I've got a Freestyle RC bar down here on the bottom, which is Josh Zimmerman's carbon fiber bar. But the one thing that I do to really hold this all together, and I know it doesn't look great, but there's a zip tie wrapped around here. And what that does is that holds in this lower link mount right here. Just in case those bolts, because they're bolting straight up into plastic, and some of the air that I get, they do tend to pop out. I take this zip tie, which is just thick enough to go through there, and tie it down, and man, what a difference it has made. The first few freestyles I did this year, these would pop out, and people would always tell me, hey, you know what, maybe inside of the axle is actually stripped. Not the case. It wasn't stripped. They were in there tight. The issue was this truck was coming down from such height that it would rip it right straight out. I don't know if anybody else is having that issue, but I certainly was, and when I found these zip ties, they were just thick enough that you could stick through there, and it made a heck of a difference. Now, underneath the hood of this Gravedigger truck, we've got a Hobbywing XR8 Plus speed control, and we've got a 3S smart battery from Horizon Hobby. This is, of course, like I said, the 3S 100C 50C constant burst, I believe. And let me pull this strap. I think it's 5,000 milliamp. Yep, 5,000 milliamp hour 3S. And let me tell you, this truck gets up and goes with this battery in it. It's hard to keep the front tires down. I actually have to turn the throttle down on this truck sometimes just to make sure I can hit obstacles straight with it. This truck was mainly built to be a freestyle truck, but it's also going to be a race-driven truck in the next few weeks anyway. I would like to get another LMT just to have two straight freestyle trucks and two straight race trucks. Eventually, anyway. I'm not going to open it up, but there is a receiver in here, SR515 receiver from Spectrum in here. A phenomenal receiver, and it's got extra channels for stuff if you would like to use it. One of the extra channels is actually occupied by the headlights for my Gravedigger, and these headlights right here are 12 millimeter Bolt LEDs from superbrightleds.com, and they shine so red. I could turn this light off in this room, and you could illuminate this whole room with these lights. That's how bright they are. And in case you didn't believe me, there you go. That is how bright those super bright LED lights are. As you can see here, I've painted this chassis up, but I've also hacked off the front of the chassis just a little bit to give some clearance for the Grave Digger body. Not too much difference right there. It's just hacked off the front where the brace was and moved the brace in a little bit. The other thing that I did was I did break a brace earlier this year, so I went out and spent the money and got the Treal Brace that bolts straight to the front here. It's very thick, very beefy. Don't think I'm going to lose that anytime soon. The other thing that I have upgraded on here is the drive shafts. I did have a few of the stock drive shafts come out, and that was when I had this issue down here with, like I said, with the zip tie that I have around here. I would pull this out, and then the stock drive shaft would still be spinning, and it would actually eat the plastic, so the drive shaft was just no good anymore. So I upgraded to the Treal drive shafts, and I gotta tell you, these look really cool. You can see the logo. These are Treal Losi LMT drive shafts. They look cool and they work great in this truck. Have not had an issue since upgrading to these Treals. The sway bar is another thing that I have upgraded here, and the main reason I did this is because I like a stiffer truck and I wanted a little bit stiffer sway bar. The sway bar on an LMT normally would be all the way out here to where this end of the sway bar arm is. I have bought these sway bars themselves from Hetmansky Hobbies, and Kevin Hetmansky over there is very good to deal with. He sent me these sway bars, and I got to tell you, I really enjoy them. They work they actually help the performance of the truck a little bit by tightening the truck up a little. It's a minute difference, but it's something that I notice when I'm driving. And you can move it a little farther forward, you can move it a little farther back. Either way, these work very well, and I would recommend them to anybody that wants to upgrade their sway bar a little bit. The rest of the sway bar system on this truck is completely stock. The flag here is from JB Scale Graphics, jbscalegraphics.com if you want one of them. The one thing that I will say is on my Clodbuster trucks, I had a really unique way that I would mount the sway bars on, or excuse me, I would mount the flag onto the truck, and that was with a dual-sided zip tie. I would glue two zip ties together, I would smash them together, I would drill a bolt through them, and then I could drill it and stick it actually on the back of the Clodbuster gear case, which on the LMT would be back here. It's not going to work right there. That's the thing. This axle is too low to the ground for your flag to really work. So what I did was I drilled just enough into the middle of the stock LMT wheelie bar to where I could slide a flag on the antenna tube pole, which these are just RC antenna tubes that are glued through here. That's what John puts on his flags. You can get them with or without. I got these with, so I could just glue it straight in here. And I was using shoe glue to hold this in, but the flag kept popping out, so I've tried JB Weld, just a little bit of JB Weld in here to hold this in for our last race that's coming up this weekend. The motor you can see back there is a Hobby Wing 4300 kV 550 can motor. Sorry, this thing's getting out of focus here, but I believe the part number is 3660, and the motor itself was about $100. It's not that expensive at all, but the power that this motor gives me is just unreal. This truck would not run as good without this motor. And if you don't believe me, some of the freestyle clips that I'm going to add in here from this truck, it's just phenomenal at how far and how fast this thing flies through the air with this motor. Love this motor, and I will try and put a link in the description to it down below.
"25 seconds into the run." Seconds approaching it. Wow. Can we pull it over?
Alright, and that'll do it for the Losi LMT go through that I've just done right there. Now, to describe my summer racing season, I know some people, you might not want to hear this, but I want to talk about it. So I'm going to put it here in the end of this video. Racing season went really well this year, unlike last year. In 2020, if you followed along on my Facebook page, Josh Rhodes RC Racing, if you followed along on Instagram, last year didn't go too well for me. I had electrical issues all season long, could not keep the trucks going. Eventually had to just kind of reset everything. And that's why I've gone all LMT and Pro Mod. That's why I have gone all Claude and Sport now. And our retro class in Trigger King, I have gone all J Concepts regulator. My Bigfoot 4 truck dominated this season, dominated the end of last season. It dominated the Childress RC Racing Winter Series, and it has dominated the Trigger King Summer Series this year. It won the Points Championship. It won the Bigfoot Open House last weekend. It won Horizon Hobby RC Fest. This truck, I mean, that truck is just phenomenal out there on the racetrack. The J Concepts regulator works. My Grave Digger 2 regulator works just as good. It's basically the exact same truck, and I'll post a video on those two trucks here in a little while. Maybe after this weekend, I'll do a video on those two trucks and kind of describe what I've done differently with them. As far as the rest of the season went, Sport Mod, I was struggling just a little bit this year. Wildfoot always runs really well. Another truck I'll do a video on for you eventually down the road here on these JDR RC blogs. I plan to keep these up and keep these going as much as I can now that I've got a little bit more free time. So hopefully we can get some more content out here for you guys. I want to get this channel, kind of grow this channel back up again. It's going to be strictly RC monster trucks for those of you that are watching this right now. I know the camera's kind of a little offset here. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a photographer. I'm not a filmer. I'm just kind of a guy talking about his RC monster trucks here. But as far as Sport Modified goes this year, we got 1 bracket win. We did really good. Retro, we got 6 bracket wins, 3 brackets out of the 10 that we did. I had both of my trucks in the final round racing each other. Sport Mod, like I said, 1 bracket win. And then Freestyle, or excuse me, Pro Mod, no wins. Did get to a couple of semifinals. I ran a Clodbuster and an LMT in that class off and on all season, trying to get the feel for the LMT. And then the end of the season, I decided, screw it, I'm going to go all LMT. And I took 1 truck that I had actually purchased off of a gentleman by the name of Matt Hall. I've got a Bigfoot Racer body on it. So if you go to the Trigger King RC page and you go to the actual Pro Mod finale first bracket, I think is what's uploaded right now. But in that first bracket with it, we got to the semifinals. It ran really well. The next bracket, I pushed it a little too hard on the throttle, messed up on the starting line, and didn't really get a good finish out of it. We took that truck to the Bigfoot Open House as well with a different servo on it. Like I said, I'm trying things out on that truck. That truck, when it was eliminated first round in Pro Mod, so I wasn't too keen on it after that. But then we did kind of a free-for-all bracket at Bigfoot Open House because we were so far ahead of schedule that basically they said, hey, just grab a truck. Doesn't matter what class, grab a truck. Most everybody grabbed Pro Mods. A couple of guys grabbed Sport Mods. One guy grabbed a Retro just to race it and see what it would do. And the Retro performed really well, honestly. He might have got knocked out in the first round, but he was right there with a Pro Mod truck. That says something. But I got to tell you, the truck got to the final round in that bracket because I have been trying to drive it with like up here level confidence when I should be trying to drive it down here just to get the use for it. And that's kind of what happened in the Pro Mod bracket. It almost spun out on me in the corner, and I just messed up. The second bracket that we did that day, the truck got all the way to the final round, and it would have won the bracket had I not gotten a little squirrely in the middle of no man's land. Bigfoot Open House is a big-time different surface than what I'm normally used to racing on. It's kind of a gravel-concrete mix, because that's where they park the haulers at back there for Bigfoot, the monster truck. They park all their haulers back there. So you're racing in gravel and concrete. So if you got a really nice body, probably not the event you want to race it at. To end this off, I'll talk about this weekend's event that I'm going to go to. It is the JB Scale Graphics 2-day race for Trigger King. One of our racers, Chris Parrish, actually kind of called it jokingly the John Toberfest because it's at John's place, and we're going to race over there at the JB Scale Graphics Field of Dreams Speedway. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on, not just monster trucks. We're going to have X-Max racing. We're going to have tough truck racing. We're going to have mega truck racing, as well as the monster truck classes, all the monster truck classes we normally run. Just going to be a cool weekend to hang out. Saturday night, I actually think John's got a live band that's going to come out and play for us, so I think that's going to be cool. Just like 5 or 10 RC racers getting to listen to a live band out there. That'd be kind of fun. Honestly, I would love to just sit out there and fish the entire night if I could. But I don't know if I'm going to have enough room in the truck for all my fishing poles. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this JDR RC blog. Like I said, I'm probably going to film another one next week if this one does really well. I'll keep these going and keep these going nonstop for you guys if that's something you want to hear about, or if you want to see my trucks, just me out in the yard driving maybe, or doing something like that. Hope you all enjoyed this, and like I said, we'll see y'all again here very soon.